Hi everyone, I am Neha Kannath. As I'm sitting down to record this video today, I'm realizing that I was in the exact same boat as most of you are right now. And I'm hoping that this is of some help for anyone navigating the exact same journey. I definitely like to start off by saying that just really take that leap of faith, have that faith in yourself that things are going to work out in the best possible way and just do things just in the best way possible. So, yeah, when I talk about the HPAIR scholarship, and for context, I am a full scholarship awardee for the HPAIR scholarship. I am currently doing my master's in Australia on a fully funded scholarship. And yeah, this is just a bit about my journey. Now, definitely the first question that I get is, hey, I mean, I come from a tier two college. Do you think my application would be strong enough? Or do you think that what are the eligibility requirements? I don't come from a fancy Ivy League, or I don't have fancy internships on my resume, or what kind of elements do you think the panel is really looking for? Now, for context, when I applied, I came from a tier two college myself. I had the exact same doubts and fears that you had, but there's two ways to approach it. One, I can accept my reality and say that, hey, I come from a tier two college. Opportunities are not going to be awarded to me, or I'm not going to get access to these opportunities because I don't come from an IIM or a BITS. And I can just sit and sort of complain about it. And the second option was to actually do something about it, actually accept the reality of things and do whatever was in my control to make my circumstances different. And that's what I did. Now, I think one of the most important factors that matter, and what I think got me the full scholarship, was how I really demonstrated growth in my journey. Now, this growth doesn't have to be insane. It doesn't have to be a company that you've started that's got an insane amount of funding, or it doesn't have to be the amount of research papers that you've written that have got Scopus indexed publications, or it doesn't have to be something that's so extraordinary. It can be something just very real and genuine and small. Now, for context, I spoke about how I was a very shy and introverted kid growing up. I mean, I couldn't even participate in MUNs without feeling terrified. I mean, I had an experience where I even walked out of an MUN in tears. I spoke about that story, about how I felt like that as a child and how the experience happened to me. And then I sort of reflected back on that and I realized that, hey, in college, the very same fear that I had of public speaking and of speaking about topics that I weren't really aware of, that's something I completely changed. I was one of the first individuals in the entirety of a BBA degree to do an elective in simulated negotiations that was taught by an IFS ambassador. Now, I took this class along with a bunch of almost 60 masters of diplomacy students. Now, I felt really out of place here. I felt really insecure. I felt that the knowledge that I had wasn't enough. And I felt that there was so much for me to learn and grow to even speak up in that class. But even though I felt that way, I still spoke up because that's what mattered. It's really pushing yourself outside your comfort zone that gets you these opportunities. Now, I didn't do this in college with the idea that, hey, let me do this so that a few years from now, when I apply for HPAIR, that's going to look good on my resume. I just did it because I wanted to break the own limiting beliefs I had of myself. And I think that's the biggest advice and the biggest takeaway I would give anyone. Just really try to demonstrate growth no matter what you do. I demonstrated growth saying that, hey, this was a fear that I had, and this is how I overcame that. And it just really showed a really personal and genuine aspect of myself that the panel really liked. In fact, in my interview, that was something that they spoke about. And I think the second factor that's really important is really demonstrate value. Why are you the most ideal candidate? Some questions to reflect on as you're writing your essay is one, being, why are you the most ideal candidate for this? Why should Harvard invest in you over thousands of applicants that apply all over the world. The competition for the scholarship is really hard. They are essentially spending so much resources and money on individuals who there's something different about. There's something that really stands out about them. Really figure out what stands out about you and why should a committee such as Harvard sponsor something like that. Really reflect on what value you're bringing, what sort of impact you're bringing, and why they should choose you over the rest. Now, if you look and sort of consider this question as you're writing your essay, the impact will automatically come to you. Your story will automatically align. And I think that's one of the most important things. Second, what is the scholarship approach? Did I get 100% scholarship? What are some costs that are covered, and what are they really looking for? I think definitely is there's no point in writing a story about your hardships and about how you are the most relevant candidate for the role. They're not looking for financial assistance. Of course, that's an important aspect. Of course, they want to support whoever they can financially, but what they're also looking for is, why should I support this candidate? And to make your application merit heavy rather than financial need heavy, because that's something that I personally did. I just really talked about why I felt like I deserved the opportunity and why I would be a good fit, and what the committee and what the team has to really get from having me on board, and literally funding my tickets, paying for my accommodation, and getting me this opportunity. What did the team have to gain from that? Always have a value first approach when you're applying to things like this, I'd say, because you really have to demonstrate that value and show that, hey, why am I different? Why should you do this for me instead of so many other people? Financially, why are they deserving for the opportunity? What are some personal milestones that this individual has broken? And what are some things that they've achieved or accomplished that are so personal to themselves and their own journey? Tell your own story. I know that in life, we always try to imitate what another person is doing, in terms of, we see somebody achieve a certain goal and we try to track back and see what else they've done to get to that place. So essentially what I'm trying to say is, there's no cookie cutter application for you to follow. There's no magical step A and step B that'll automatically lead to step C for you to get towards your goal. And there's no fancy achievement that you can have that'll just outshine everything that you have done or outshine your profile over the rest. And I would say that definitely put in the work, show your real authentic self, show you who you are as a person. I mean, talk about some personal experiences, talk about what you enjoy, talk about why you think you're different, and just really try and think about everything that you've done in your life. I mean, I would even frame it this way. In my application, if an individual maybe read it or looked at it, it would seem that every single thing I've done in my life has maybe led to that moment. So really try to imagine and think about how you can possibly put across information so that it really looks like, hey, this is the final goal for this person, that it's a no-brainer for the committee to decide that, hey, this scholarship should go to this individual. A little bit more about the competitiveness of HPAIR. HPAIR is a really competitive program to get into, the scholarship even more. Out of, I think, thousands of applications all over the world, there were 2 individuals that got a fully funded scholarship this year. And the process sort of looks like a scholarship essay, and you have to submit your funding requirements and state, hey, show your financial statements and things like that. And post that, there are 2 interviews, one normally to decide whether you've been selected or not. And second, if you've applied for a scholarship, you might have an additional interview or 2. It's important to take this interview like a conversation. You're not trying to impress an individual to prove to them that, hey, I'm so perfect and this is why I should get the scholarship. It's just really be a conversation where you try and show that real and authentic part of yourself to the interviewer, because you're essentially going to be interviewed by the committee themselves, which are often students in the same boat as you are, just studying at Harvard. So if you really try to show that authentic self of who you are, then that really just goes a long way. I would say that the overall heart, HBAR experience is truly magical. There's nothing like it. You see so many individuals who are so driven in so many aspects of your life when you attend HBAR. And I've attended a fair share of conferences myself, and I to this day think that nothing could beat the experiences of HBAR because you meet such influential individuals, you get to talk to such interesting mentors, and you get to make some lifelong connections and networks. Some of my closest friends to this day are from the conference, and we're extremely tight. And they're all such ambitious, hardworking, and really successful individuals who are doing fairly amazing for themselves. And it's such a good way to meet very like minded people over there. I mean, you never know, you could meet the founder of your future company, your future partner, and so many other things over there. So it's really important to always push yourself out of your comfort zone and try as many new things as possible and really make use of the network that HBAR gives you and try to put as much as your authentic energy into the program because it's such a great way to really bounce off of ideas from each other and just really truly learn and grow. I attended this program. It was like a social incubator of sorts where I was working on an SDG challenge and we ended up launching an app. Now, this was something that I did purely of interest. I mean, it was not something compulsory. It was not something that all students were asked to do, but it was something that I wanted to put myself through because I generally felt there was so much to learn and grow through it. So I believe that having that mindset when applying to anything or trying out new things, it's extremely important. It now also another piece of advice would be to never self-reject. I've missed out on so many opportunities in my life because I've self-rejected myself even before applying. I would say I would sit and sort of talk myself out of opportunities and say that, hey, this wouldn't be a good fit for me, or hey, I may not be qualified enough for it, or just things like that. But what's important to realize is you gain opportunity. But if an opportunity is in front of you, definitely believe that it's there for a reason and just really give it a shot. I mean, there's nothing that you lose by trying. You only gain everything. You gain confidence, you gain experience, and you gain so many other things that you can't essentially get if you don't even try. So it's really important to try, I believe. I mean, a lot of opportunities since then, I've just tried, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it don't, but that's all a learning lesson, definitely.